Hello darlings, my name is Ichika92 and welcome to Ring of Pain review. Never did I imagine that a card game will give me a nightmare, but here we are. Ring of Pain is truly an amazing combination of horror, strategy and RPG, and seasoned with some indie creativity. The basics of the game is that you can interact with two cards in front of you, them being the enemies, doors or pathways, loot, skill upgrades, potions, magic books or magic scrolls, and I believe that is all. Before I get into all of that, I have to state that the game is really unforgiving and does require a nice amount of planning and thinking before making a move. And sadly, the worst part is, it does require a bit of luck. So at times the game will feel unfair. For example, a couple of times I was simply dealt a bad hand in the first level and I died in under 30 seconds. It certainly does leave a bad taste in your mouth, but the further you progress, it's less and less about luck and more about skill and planning. So I was left with mixed feeling about that part. Let's get into the cards themselves. The bread and butter of the game are enemies and the treasure chests. The mimic looking things. Now, there are 4 tiers of loot, the white, blue, purple and golden. The way you get loot, usually, is by killing enemies and getting their souls, and then spending those souls on mimics to get loot. You spend the amount of souls depending on the rarity of the loot. If you don't like the loot you were given, you can always reroll the chest. Of course, you have to pay a smaller amount of souls to get new items in the same chest, but I don't have any problems with that. Here comes the awesome part. You can hold up to 12 items plus 2 spells at a time, which is just amazing at creating your character, and the feel of an RPG truly comes out. And add to that the fact that all of the items have different stats and better items have special effects. In total, it adds up about 400 different items, with each having a unique effect and unique art style. And don't even let me get started about the art direction. The art direction on this game is amazing, but more on that later. One of the things that I loved about this game the most is the result of your move and or combat is automatically calculated, so you will never have unexpected deaths or you will not see something coming. Most of the times you can prevent your death. The way it's calculated is your skill versus the enemy skills plus special effects if there are any. Let's talk combat. Each creature, including yourself, has health, basic physical attack, armor and speed. Each of those things is pretty straightforward. The damage is calculated attack minus armor. If you or the enemy has more armor than your attack, well, tough luck, you won't do any damage, and I absolutely love that system. And how the items work into it too, but more on that in a second. The speed determines who goes first on the attack. If the speed is the same, the attacker is determined by a dice roll, and that is where the similarities between the player and the enemies end, and the beautiful harmony of combat begins. The monsters, besides the basic attacks, have piercing attacks, which ignore armor, but those attacks can be negated by your parry. They can also have explosive, poison, range or spike attacks, plus some boss specific attacks, but I'll let you discover those. Other than attacks, some enemies have special conditions or moves. For example, some enemies will hunt you, others have an explosion effect and so on. But it breathes such a nice life into the game, and it rises tension that is followed up so nicely once more by graphics and music at times. You, on the other hand, as a player, can roleplay as a fighter, which focuses on basic attacks, or a wizard, which focuses more on soul attacks, and last but not least, an assassin, which focuses more on not taking damage rather than dealing it, which is pretty cool on its own. The way you specialize yourself in one of those styles is by getting items for each role. The round of a game takes about an hour to complete, so when you do die, it's not such a big deal. But you kind of want to die, because to unlock items you need to do certain things, like kill certain boss, or deal certain amount of damage, or kill certain amount of enemies, or die in a specific way. For example, die under 30 seconds, don't ask me how I managed that. Plus, in each level, there are usually more than one doors. that you can take, and then some doors lead to special rooms filled with either magical statue or loot or enemies, or it's a boss room. The game has a ton of variety, so you will not get bored, and the replayability is quite big. I will not get too into specifics so I don't spoil it for you if you are willing to try the game out. The game is currently free on Epic Games. Before I give you my opinion on the music and the graphics, I would kindly ask you to subscribe if you are interested. I do reviews, difficulty reviews and commentary on upcoming games. Also check out links below for my Twitch, Discord and Twitter. I stream almost every day. If you're interested, please do check me out. Finally, the graphics. The art design is on point. Each enemy is distinct and quite terrifying to look at. The ambience around the playfield is quite detailed and mysterious, plus the music that complements it quite well. All of the items don't only look good, but the effects and statuses are corresponding to the looks of the item. As if the statuses and effects were written first and then the artwork was made. There's a lot of effort and thought put into this game, and it is visible from every angle. While the game as a whole is working almost perfectly, the mystery of the light and the shadow, the story that we uncover is keeping us on the edge. It's all kind of tripping on that factor of luck, like it's all slowed down. And that is why my final verdict for this game is 8 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching, leave your opinions down in the comments, and as always, till next time.